Please welcome Christine Park, SSH President.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to IMSH 2018. I'd like to take a few moments just to share some musings with you, starting with the purpose statement, which the board adopted in June of this year. And it is this: the purpose of the Society for Simulation in Healthcare is to serve a global community of practice enhancing the quality of healthcare. And we did this to really fully embrace our attitude of servant leadership and our duty as a group of healthcare simulationists to all of the stakeholders and the lives that we affect. So thinking about how knowledge has spread in the world, it was really through a process of democratization over time. So knowledge a long time ago used to be a special thing that was for a certain elite group of scholars, and it was contained in libraries. But over the years, there came to be this invention of the printing press. And so knowledge got to be shared by a wider group of people. And if we think about today, it's even more through things like Wikipedia. And so really our process, starting from now and into the future, is really about the democratization of access to simulation. So in many ways, we got here today by having very high standards, very rigorous approaches, and all that is wonderful and perfect. Now, one of the things that we have to think about is who can we reach that we haven't yet reached, both those who are perhaps more immediately around us and in the world, both inside and outside of healthcare. And also, how can we make it easier for people to access simulation? And finally, how can we connect more meaningfully? And these are some of the things that we have tried to do this year. And I want to share with you one piece of interesting information, which is, what does the public think about the importance of healthcare simulation? Well, this is something that we have known for a long time. This survey was done back in 2003, so 15 years ago now, and asked the public what did they think was the importance of simulation-based education for continuing competence, in this case in a physician group. Well, you can see that the vast majority of the public thinks that it is very important, or at least moderately important, for people to undertake simulation as part of their continuing competence. So we know that the public has a vested interest in healthcare simulation, and one of our challenges will be to think about how do we begin to engage the public in our process. So one of the things that we have done this year to great success was our inaugural Healthcare Simulation Week, which was back in September. And I want to encourage you to put it on your calendars now and begin preparations now for Healthcare Simulation Week 2018, which is going to be September 17th through 21 worldwide. So another thing that we did this year was to, as a board, to undertake a process of strategic planning. We met together as a group for a day of a retreat and established a set of strategic priorities for the near to intermediate term horizon for the next 3 years. So if you are a member of SSH, we encourage you to come join us at the SSH annual business meeting, which is going to be tomorrow afternoon, and there we will share more details about the strategic priorities. So last year, I asked this question: so which way do we need to go as a group of healthcare simulationists? This way, that way, or another way? Well, I have an answer for you this year, which is that in many ways we have arrived. So at least as a meeting, this is our 18th year as a meeting, so I guess technically we're young adults. And with that comes certain responsibilities. Another way to think about it is, how have we arrived as a group of healthcare simulationists as a profession? And in many ways, we have been shifting over the last years from maybe a hobby or maybe an occupation to now a full-fledged profession. And the development of profession as a concept is really not that old. It's only several hundred years old. but it was the healthcare providers and the engineers who are at the forefront of pushing the development of a profession as opposed to a guild or a group of craftsmen. So what are some of those milestones? Some of them include specialized training and certification, an establishment of standards for competence and for skills, and professions are self-regulated and independent. So here's a roadmap for arriving at full professional status. You see that there are things like skills development, ongoing professional development, accreditation, certification, and licensing. The last piece of the puzzle for many professions is to have a unifying code of ethics for that profession. And we have begun to undertake that work. And we had yesterday a Principles of Ethics Summit in which we had delegates from over 25 countries to begin to work on a unifying code of ethics for healthcare simulationists. And please stay tuned for more information to come over this coming year. One thing that I'd like to point out that's new this year are connection capsules. So there are 6 of these scattered around the convention hall, and they fit about 4 to 6 people. So if you need a landing place for an impromptu meeting, please make use of these, and we're very excited to provide them for you this year. Okay, so this is one of my favorite quotes, and it really is my mantra for why I'm in simulation. And it's a quote that's a couple thousand years old, attributed to Confucius. And it says this: by 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is the noblest. Second, by imitation, which is the easiest. And finally, and third, by experience, which is the bitterest. So for any of you in this room, and I suspect that's nearly all of us, who has had one of those bitter life experiences, you know how much that stays with you. And I think one of the miracles of what we do in simulation and how we have made the impossible possible is to bring together all 3 methods to bear for impactful learning in healthcare simulation. And I think that's really amazing. So could the inventors of this acupuncture simulator a couple thousand years ago have thought about what could be achievable today? Could the inventors of this 17th century obstetric simulator have thought and even dreamed about what could be possible today? So there are many things to think about as we sit here that once were impossible, that not only are possible today, but which are considered normal and everyday. It's exciting to think about what lies in the future and what will be different for us 10, 50, and 100 years from now. The American poet Theodore Roethke said this: what we need is more people who specialize in the impossible. And that's what I would like to say everybody in this room here today specializes in. So I'd like to thank you so much for the opportunity to have been of service to you and to the society over this past year. We have had a lot of fun at the regional meetings, at the inaugural meetings of new affiliate societies, and representing the society at a number of our affiliate meetings, as well as having some of the inaugural events of our own this year. So I thank you so much for that honor.